Afternoon, everyone. Hope you're good. Wow, it's been a bit carnage, hasn't it? Let me know if you can hear me and see the Twitter screen randomly on Twitter this morning. We're going to be using that as a feed for the little soundy bite kind of quotations in block capitals, of course, by good old Walter Bloomberg. Um, so yeah, we've already had a little bit of an absolute whirlwind of the last few minutes. The stock market is liquidity, pure liquidity at the moment. Flung up, flung back down. The dollar has dropped significantly. We're on the half an hour time frame, by the way, just to kind of see it. Massive drop, big, nice correctional wave. And again, look at this absolute rejection at the moment. So we'll see what's happening. The main reason why certain things have been happening, you've probably already noticed, is bear with me. If we go to investing.com, one tickle, go away, all this bloody. Hold on. No, I want to stay there. Where is the economic calendar? Should have been more prepared. So we have had some information come out. So we've had the core stuff. So that came down a little bit, which I don't know if that's good news or bad news. Looks massively different. So that reacted the market. So we'll see how things go. It's all data, and data is a problem. The reason why it's such a problem is because it's lagging, and they're going to be making future policy decisions based off today's kind of speech, off data that's a little bit naff in some cases, but sometimes it's pretty good too. But we'll see how things go. So in 11 minutes, he's going to be speaking. But yeah, the market's not looking fun. Great if you're a trader, volatility and all that. The yield rate just dropped like a stone. The crypto market pumped massively, along with the S&P and along with the Nasdaq, and the dollar dumped. So you can kind of see what's happening. But I don't think it's a time to really trade right now. I think it's a time to just watch and laugh and giggle at people getting liquidated. Sorry, just how it is. Anyways, how's everyone doing? If you want to chuck in some questions, feel free to have a butchers and have a look. But yeah, a lot of the news that did come out recently today in terms of the core PCE. So basically the price, I think it's the, hold on, let me get the data right before I start making a personal consumption expenditure. So this is excluding food and energy. Energy in the US isn't a massive problem. I'm not speaking loud at LJ. This is as loud as I can speak, to be fair. If you want me to speak louder, I will be shouting. This is what my microphone goes up to. But yeah, in terms of this, you can see the data, it's been relatively high. But I would have argued that this is kind of bad news in a way because, you see the previous 0.6 and you see the forecast 0.3 and then the actual 0.1. That measures a change in the price of goods. So yeah, it's kind of a weird one in terms of like that's gone down. But is that a good thing or not? I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. If obviously it's been a positive for the news, but it's excluding food and energy. So that's why I'm kind of thinking, well, the two main variables that are the biggest element of inflation are not even included. So why are we looking at that as a positive light? For me, I would have just kind of not so much ignored it, but ultimately we all know the high inflation rate came from oil prices being through roof. The food price is a massive element as well. I don't know how bad it is in America, but in Europe it's absolutely scandalous at the moment. Like I think we're up 3% from last month on the food inflation rate or whatever it is, which is mad. So in 1 month, by the way. So yeah, different world. I think Europe are crumbling. I think the European market is totally in front of everything. But there's one thing I do need to say about the European market. Bear with me. Just saw it before. Where the fuck is it? There we go. Some ECB policymakers want to discuss a 75-point base rate hike. Basically, that's massive compared to the fact that the first one was 25 base points, and it was the first time they did that in 11 years. Then they did another one at like ridiculous levels of like 50, which was like, again, first time in like 30 odd years. And then now we're looking at 75. It's mental, right? So, yeah, European market, not good. But hey ho, we'll see what Jerome Powell says. But yeah, LJ, turn your fucking speakers up, man. Or put an hearing aid in. Christ. So what's happening? Live market looking. Dominance is going up of Bitcoin top bottom right. BTC dropping. That's a massive, massive spike to the upside. That is a shit candle. People say that's a good candle. It's a shit candle. It's a little bit of a manipulation candle. Same with the futures. So S&P, Nasdaq, wow, spiky, not great. But you got to remember the market has only been open 20 minutes, and we're about to get a pretty shitty speechy. Well, it might not be a shit speech. But feel free to let me know if you think it's going to be, hawkish. I doubt it. I think I've said it this morning on Learning Crypto in terms of the live there. I said that the next CPI print is probably going to be the most decisive in terms of what happens next. I don't think they're going to be looking now. I think they've got an idea now, but I think I mentioned this morning that the oil prices have kind of been sat in a range for quite a period of time, and this is not going to make inflation, let's be honest here, any worse or any bad. It's just going to potentially keep it level. I would say that if the inflation rate on the next CPI print is basically the same level, so 8.6, 8.5, 8.7, give or take around that range, not showing any more improvement, they might be thinking, hold on a minute, we may have to stick with that 75 base points because it still isn't moving. You've got to remember, when that big rate of 9.1% in America was happening, the lagging data that we had was over $110 on the oil, which is a big, massive factor. And it dropped. It dropped by a good couple of percent, massive amount of percentage, to be fair. So we've got to look at that as a factor. We can't just be like, oh, it's cured. But one of the main reasons, one of the biggest factors was the stock market kind of dumped a little bit, but ultimately so did oil. And that factor is a huge thing. And you can't really look at that as a factor of just one in isolation, because if that CPI rate is, let's be safe here and say 8.8, a little bit higher, they're going to be like, hold on a minute, it hasn't really truly topped out yet. We need to be continuing said path. What else is happening? So obviously you got the Powell speech, and there'll be a lot of sound bites, I think, over the next few days. So maybe over the weekend we may see some opinions from people. We will probably see on Monday during the bank holiday in the UK some interesting market moves, certainly in America, if we are going to get comments by the Bank of England, the ECB, based off what could be said today. So what I mean by that is whatever they say, they may well have an opinion on it. That is then more news, and it's going to be more reaction, all kinds of good stuff. So we'll see how things actually do plan out. But overall, I like to just watch this sort of thing. But I think people are waiting, personally. Too close to midterms. Yeah, I think midterms is also a factor, personally. I think mid-November, I think that's happening. They will want a healthy-ish market, well, as much as healthy as you can get it. Right now, it's not looking great. Obviously, the 30-minute time frame, it looks a bit wishy-washy, but at the same time, then when you look at the bigger picture and you look at the weekly or even the monthly time frames, you're looking at the stock market and you're looking at, all the yield rates and where they could be going for the bond market. It doesn't look favourable for the bulls at the moment, until that really does change. And then you've got to put into consideration what's happened in the FX market, the strong dollar as well. Even though it's coming down right now, it's still strong. If you're looking at the higher time frames on the dollar, for example, as much as we have dropped and pulled back, we have cleared this range with body closures. We could just carry on going. Today could be the day that it just turns around and goes, you know what, we're going to carry on going and we're going to go up, because whatever said today could have an impact on Europe, and that would make then the FX market, favourable. And obviously what's going to happen there, the dollar market is just going to carry on going up because the dollar is strong. Not to mention Asia and stuff like that. Asia could be a big factor at the start of next week, depending on what's going to happen over there. So yeah, it's all fun and games at the moment. We'll see what's going to happen, but this is going to start soon. Let's see any more tweets from Mr. Shouty, because this is where we'll be getting most of it. A lot of this will be just quotes, sound bites, and stuff. Nothing exciting. We're just going to do a little bit of a watch along for the shit and giggles, because I think the last time we did this was the CPI update, and it was quite good. I think this is another big one. We might do another one for the base rate hike and the next one. Just random stuff, just for a bit of fun. But yeah, feel free if you want to chuck any questions in related to crypto or whatever. I'll get back to them later on. But yeah, we'll see how things go. Fed trying to liquidate the ECB by pumping the dollar. It's interesting, because this is the first time, well, in my memory, anyways, the European market has took such a hit, and obviously the euro's never been the most let's be fair here, the most coveted currency since its adoption back in, 2002 or whatever it was. So we'll see how things go there. That could be fun. But the biggest alarm bell for me is kind of watching the yield market just plummet. Like, that just absolutely destroyed itself in that last couple of minutes. Well, couple of candles. I wouldn't say a couple of minutes, but you know what I mean, last 2 hours. So pretty interesting. But yeah, the markets kind of just stopped and paused for a minute. They're just waiting, I think. But yeah, for me, I can't see how they can't just, like, some like counselors and attorneys and whatnot, or whoever is in charge of these states and counties in America, they're all saying, oh, inflation's topped, cool, you know, but the element is they've got to get to 2%. The base rate target, what they want is 2%. Going from 8.6% down to 2% is not going to happen in about, I would say, about 2 years at least, if they even get there. There's also considerations is, has the world changed too much? Has everything in the world changed that we'll never ever get to 2% again? We'll maybe set about a 5% rate. There's all those considerations that we don't really know yet. So there's definite some interest there. But I would argue to say that the world has changed a little bit. But yeah, we'll see. Powell hour. Sounds like something that you'll do in the fucking gym, that. Am I Coin's kid's brother? No, I'm not. He's from the middle earth, isn't he? He's from Leicester area, so he's in like the middle of the country. I'm at the top of it, so I'm in the Lake District. I'm miles away. I'm basically, if you watch Game of Thrones, I'm a wildling. I'm like right at the top, near the wall, essentially. Whereas he's right in the middle. So no, we're a good 200 miles apart. But a few people have said that in terms of, am I his brother? I was in the military for 6 years, give or take. So my accent is not of the Cumbrian dialect. It's a little bit there, but most people think I am from different parts of the world. It's great. It's funny. But yeah, I am from the lakes. It's a lovely part of the world. I'll probably end up somewhere in there this weekend, depending on the weather. Right, we're starting to move a little bit now, aren't we? A little bit of movage. Crypto's the interesting one. We've moved up a little bit. That is a very strongish candle, but ultimately, it's not the crypto market I'm worried about. I'm more worried about the futures, because this is not looking great, even though, yeah, we'll see. So let's see if there's any kind of bollocks coming out. Probably loads of it. It usually is. General Motors to suspend production, in Mexico due to supply chain issues. Not a good start, is it? Not a good start. By the way, if you swear, the comments don't show on the comments on the thing. Just bear that in mind. Was I in the army with, I'm guessing you're talking about Operation Crypto? No, I was in the Air Force. I was Air Force 2013 I joined, and I left in 2018. Up north. Right, what's happening? What's happening with this market? Because he'll be starting a speakish soon. How long is this speech anyway? Is it like 2 hours? Because if it's 2 hours, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to go and do something else for the day. S&P is starting to drop quite a bit. That is a real clanger candle, that. Oof. Dirty candle. Same with the Nasdaq. They're the ones you got to watch out for. Wicks play tricks, man. Horrible. There's loads of banter in this chat today. Did you play Soggy Biscuits? I've heard of it, but I've never ever witnessed nor seen it, which is a fucking good thing, really, because I've heard what it is. It's such a British thing, that, isn't it? A navigator on the Nimrod. God, you're showing your age there. Christ. I think the Nimrod literally went out of commission by the time I joined. Dollar is pumping, and Bitcoin is dumping. That's usually the element. Speech has started. Oh, fuck me. There we go. Hello. You've been caught speeding. That candle's too fast. I don't know what he said yet. We'll watch this for a bit. Will be interesting to see what's going to happen. As always, little bit of simple advice. Don't be trading this sort of thing right now. If you're not experienced enough, I don't even touch any lower time frames, but if you are on high leverage, you could get rattled pretty quickly in this market, especially on some altcoins. Some people will be trading this and be totally oblivious to what's happening, to be fair, which is always fun. What is happening? The dollar, look at the dollar just go upsy daisy, off we go again. It looks like we fell over, but we're back on track again. And yeah, Bitcoin's going to rattle some people today. So it's basically liquidated a lot of shorts, it's liquidated a lot of longs, and now it's back into the mid-range. Lovely. Lovely jubbly. Anything happening on the world of Mr. Shouty Pants? Or nothing yet? We will likely require restrictive policy for some time. I had a feeling that would be the thing. You can't just turn it off and go, oh, we had an element of yippee. We've dropped the inflation rate by a little bit, and then we'll just stop it, because that's kind of the worst thing you can do. But that sentence alone is going to increase the dollar strength overall. But yeah, this could be Friday fuckery. This is going to be interesting, isn't it? The interesting element is, this is probably has no bearing on the market itself, but there is a bank holiday in the UK on Monday. I don't know what that'll happen in terms of the London session, but it's more the fallout that I'm more concerned about over the weekend. As I said before, people's opinions on social media, big people having a say on what Jerome Powell's going to be saying. And that is a massive, massive thing, because it's just going to be sound bites for the next few weeks of what was happening. And I think you got to remember what was said last year. Essentially, inflation's transitory. That was said last year, which is always fun. Oh, come on, say something good. Say something that's going to really rattle everyone. Come on, let's liquidate. I'm joking. Imagine if this just dumped to like 20,500 and back up to 22k. That would be like the absolute whirlwind of a pure range battery. Does happen though. You got to think though, like in terms of like percentages and stuff like that. So obviously this, it doesn't sound like much, but 3% in a matter of like, hold on, let's just do this, give or take, what, 2 hours? It's not enough. And it does happen quite a lot of the time. But in terms of the fact that we're just waiting on like a speech, man, look at that now. That just absolutely went mental. So it's very volatile right now. As a fellow YouTuber, you find it, your two regular people that you watch is from the lakes. It's quite a good area. I think the Lake District is kind of underrated, underdiscovered by certain people. Usually people don't come up this far, they get nosebleeds. Right, what's happening? The crypto market is pretty rough. This is pretty mental. The dollar's still strongish. There's been a new tweet. Hello. Someone stuck on the M6. LJ, unlucky. US 10-year Treasury yields raised 4 base points. So that, yeah, this was the bit that was like, when I first opened up and I saw this drop, I thought, oh, hello, the rates are starting to go back up again. The element to this, if people don't know this is like the 10-year yield of the US rates. Basically, higher this is, the more unattractive it is for like the market, for like borrowing and stuff. So it's usually people going into bonds and stuff to kind of get that yield. And usually if that is policy changes or stuff like that and instability or whatever you want to word it as, in any sort of stock market, it will increase this. And this is like starting to create a bit of an uptrend, right? So if this does carry on going up and carry on going up as it could do, we may well find a lot more people bug out of the stock market into this. And that would also affect crypto, because if obviously the S&P, the Nasdaq, Dow Jones and stuff are falling out of its arse, and the dollar is still increasing because a lot more people are holding cash as well as the fact that the European market's on its knees, you may well find that crypto will probably go with it, which is not what you want, especially if there's liquidity crisis. We all know that crypto is the fastest market to get your money out or in, essentially, versus a broker. Big brokers, they take, 3 business days at least. Crypto, 30 seconds, give or take, unless your bank's crap. But yeah, usually pretty quick. Hawkish Powell. Everyone was expecting today the confirmation of the pivot, weren't they? If you were listening to what people were saying the last few days in terms of, inflation's topped, we're pivoting, we're going to go to 50 base points, 25, then to negative, and that's going to be it. Done by the start of 2023, sorry. It looks very, very unlikely to be that quick. As I say, we're trying to go to a base point rate of a 2% inflation. We're at 8.5, 8.6. That's going to take forever. It's going to take like at least 18 months to 2 years at least. Because you got to just look at how, it's totally changed. So yeah, could be fun. Because you got to think as well, inflation probably will not go down as fast as what it went up. You got to think how much money was printed. A lot. They're not just going to pull that much money out of the market in one button click. They're not going to press the Control and Z function, are they? Which is going to be the most important element. Dollar's dropping again. Interesting. Yield rates are still kind of going up a little bit on the bottom left. And Bitcoin is kind of stuck in the middle range again. It seems very indecisive still. Italy's bond rates have now gone up. Come on, Mr. Powell, say something cool, like tell us a joke. What's the market doing here? This is new. Price stability serves the bedrock of our economy, obviously. So that's probably based off the data today in terms of the prices have kind of restored some kind of, level pegging essentially. This is the interesting point though. I mentioned it before, if that data is just not including food, not including the likes of the obvious energy bills, stuff like oil and whatnot, it's not really going to have much of a positive factor in terms of what you're looking at, because most of the food element and most of the energy element is definitely going to help with the inflation rate. Whether you read that as good or negative, I don't know. So yeah, he's not really said much, has he? Bit shit, really. But the main line, where is it? The main line is obviously they're not going to slow down. They're not going to change, I think they've got to be restrictive. I think they can't not. I mean, it's dumb, isn't it? Like, if you think about it, if you think like, oh, we've topped out inflation and like the 1 month's worth of data we've got to look at. Oh, we've topped out. Oh, let's go back to normal. It's mental, isn't it? That's like watching England play football. The build is better than the event. That's probably right. That is probably it. But in terms of the overall market right now, like, look at that. Like, no one is interested right now in terms of how the market's reacting. I reckon a lot of people are like waiting for a lot more data to come out. It's like me kind of in terms of what my stance is on the market right now. I'm waiting for more and more information. I want to see what Q4, definitely Q4. I want to see what happens when they actually put into motion the QT, where they're doubling the rate of the buy. Well, not so much the buyback, pulling out some money, which it could be very, very interesting. So the crypto market's kind of creating a little bit of a teacup storm. Nothing massive, but enough to get people worried. Yields dropping again. Dollar is now dropping to new lows. Interesting. and the stock market is just crashing. So well, I wouldn't say crashing. I don't want to be a martini guy in terms of over zealous in terms of my wording, but not looking great. But the one thing that you can see here, the stock market just dropped and Bitcoin pumped. Mental. Yeah, tightening beyond neutral rates. Nothing changes until, well, we've got the next CPI update, which will be, what, a week and a bit before the next rate hike information. So that to me is the critical next date. It fuck everything else off. It's that if the CPI data is roughly where we are right now in terms of 8.6%, it would indicate that they still need to carry on and probably stick with the 75 base points. If it has improved, they'll probably go to 50. But there might be 50 for quite a while because they want to get to a set percentage level of interest, roughly around 4%, I think they want to get to by the end of the year at least. And that should help. But right now, the market's having a lot of fun. Look at the look at the S&P 500. Boom. Bye. This is interesting to watch though now. I'm not sure when the data comes out. I think it's like usually the 11th, 12th, 13th of every month sort of thing. I will find out for you. Bear with me. When is the next CPI? Where's the search feature? Oh, God. I'll probably find it somewhere. So next week, we've got quite a bit of information coming out in terms of consumer confidence. Where's the US stuff? Crude oil, bear with me. Where is, I don't even know if I can find it. That's an old article. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Kind of giving up with it. Yeah, the S&P is not looking great. The dollar's not looking great, but Bitcoin hasn't dumped yet. The question I've got is why isn't, well, I'll say it isn't such a question, but Bitcoin has handled a lot of negative pressure pretty well. And even like when you're looking at it's a bit weird, it's a bit backwards at the moment. Let's look at that. You know, when we look at this, Bitcoin's been pretty much a bit sideways, wishy-washy, and this has been pretty much going sort of in an upward trajectory. Bitcoin hasn't really followed that movement, which is quite interesting. So we'll see how things go. Oh, hello. I found some shit. Oops, don't want to go there. I will get lost on that website. So central bank rates right now are 2.5%. They want, I believe, they want to get that to 4%. So there's still going to be quite a few little hikes to come, I believe. Certainly where it goes, I think I do believe the initial target is going to be roughly around 4%. CPI for US 13th of September. Yeah, I had a feeling it'd be that sort of week. So if that means we're going to go up to 4% target, there's still a few more in the pipeline, which is, you know, a lot of people will celebrate that in terms of like, if there is a 50 points base, the market will probably pump, but it's still crap. You know, it's still going to mean that the market's going to get some more pressure and it's going to change how everything's reflected in the market. Anything else popping off? If not, we'll probably bugger off soon. Feel free to chuck any questions in about any sort of crypto-y stuff if you feel like it. Why not? Might as well. But yeah, the S&P 500 has dropped quite a bit since that that little peak that we've had. It's quite a decent drop actually, 1.2%. Not bad. So yeah, we're looking at a decent little drop. What we on? Yeah, nothing groundbreaking, nothing mental. Let's be fair here. I mean, the market is open. It's not very flowy. I was expecting a little bit more interest in that market. Clearly not. A lot of people before this speech were saying they were expecting at least a 50 base point hike, which at the time was normal. but they obviously changed it. A lot of people's opinions kind of change essentially. Um, it probably is going to swing more towards 75 base points if that inflation rate hasn't really massively improved. So it could be interesting. Yeah, I think what you need to see in replying to that comment is clear direction. There hasn't been a clear direction for a while. It seems like the last 2 weeks it's been a bit of a knife edge. It's like it feels like people are trying to see what's going to happen, and not much big money essentially has been like trying to get in front of it, which makes sense. Like, why would you want to try and get in front of the Federal Reserve? Like, sometimes if you hit it, you might miss completely, but some people will get it bang on. But I think you got to think of the data. The data hasn't been great throughout. Like, it showed some signs of improvements, but at the same time, it showed that it could be a little bit manipulated between what's happened with the oil price and obviously certain dynamics of like that data. Certainly, when you think about the non-farm payroll, stuff like that, in terms of people getting potentially 2 jobs and stuff. It's so many like little things you got to consider. It's like, oh god, nightmare. Wonder what Bitcoin's going to do though, because I just sat there now thinking that we were going to go back into the 20k levels. Might do tonight, to be fair, but the dollar looks a bit of a mess today. 90% profits on Plutus is pretty decent. The US, oh, I forgot about them going into the US. I'm personally no longer a fan of like crypto cards because it's just another tax expense and I can't be asked. I'd rather just spend my money in my bank. It's easier. Do you have a meetup? Nah. Don't know. I'll probably get stabbed or something though, mate. Got a lot of haters in the space. I suppose if I carry the name Mobster, I'm going to get some heat, I suppose. But no, I've not had a meetup for a while. The last meetup that I did was in 2019, which was it was in London as well, actually, to be fair. Learning crypto meetup. It was pretty good, actually. It was on the south bank of the Thames. It was fucking expensive. I won't tell you how much it cost, but Christ, it was a nice thing. Anyways, I'll probably leave you now. It's been an interesting little 33 minutes of like watching this just go up and down like a fucking yo-yo. Christ. I mean, the yield rates are going up and down. The dollar is going up and down quite significantly. Should we go to the martini time frames? Go on. 5 minutes. Let's have a gander. Oof. Look at that. So the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, that's like proper crazy time frame. Imagine scalping and trading that. No, thank you. I'd rather stick pins in my bum. No chance. The weekend could be very interesting because obviously this is the last day of like some sort of like information that will go out on, mainstream kind of news. Obviously some things will be said and not said or whatever. But there you go. There's a recovery from the S&P 500. That's gone. What the fuck's happening here? Dollar's now going up again. Hello, we're off. Did anyone go along? Jokes. It's going to be interesting. I think this is going to be one of those days where things you just got to watch and wait. The thing, I just don't understand why it's backwards, isn't it? Bitcoin's dumping and the S&P 500's doing that. It's mad. Usually the other way around, isn't it? Usually. It'll probably come right the way back down again now. We'll see. But anyways, I want to leave you. Have a great weekend, everyone. Obviously no main video today because this is happening. I wasn't going to do a video today anyways. It is a bank holiday on Monday. I will probably do a video and normal stuff like planned because I don't tend to take bank holidays off, to be fair. I don't really see the need to. But hey, anyways, enjoy. Have fun watching the market. Don't do any high leverage kind of stuff because it is pretty dicey. It's not too bad on Bitcoin, but I reckon the altcoin market, I've not even looked at the altcoin market, to be fair. The altcoin market probably is a bit wishy-washy. Up and down. It's not been too bad, to be fair. just feel, I don't know if it's a combination that cryptocurrency is like not many people here at the moment, or if it's just the fact that people are just genuinely waiting, which could be fun.